there's some weird things that happen in life and stuff. But boy, today is really a gift. And then there's this part of my brain that whenever I think of something positive, it throws something negative back at me. And I started thinking about back in high school. So, Kate, you can nod if you relate to this. I really enjoyed playing some video games, and I would be very focused on a video game. So imagine there was one I was really into called Wizard 101. I was really into that game, and sometimes my mom would come along and say, "Hey Micah, could I get your help setting the table for dinner?" And my response would usually be something along the lines, and tell me if this is familiar for any of you. "Just a second," or, "Well, let me finish this first," or, "Hang on, I'm almost done." You ever experienced anything like that?
I have.
You bet either one way or the other. I don't want to make any accusations, Kate. I had the gift of that day and a gift of family, but my focus was maybe a little bit inward. The reading that we're going into today is it's Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 through 20. And the writer of Ephesians has just been talking about how you need to wake up, open your eyes. Don't go into the darkness, but open your eyes to the light. And then starts talking about wisdom and foolishness.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I wonder, Kate, would you start us out in our study today? And I think it relates to what I was thinking about with my. I was wasting a gift, a gift of the day and a gift of family. I wonder if we could dive into this a little bit together.
Sounds good.
So
Let's do it.
Sounds good. Did you read 15 and 16?
Yes. "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil." Kind
of a weird phrase there, because
yes, it is.
the day we were thinking, well, the people in this time period who are Christians were really being persecuted. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's also sometimes life sucks and sin happens. But we're invited into making the most of the gift. Let's keep reading.
I think so. "Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is."
Ooh, let's stop there. Understand what the Lord's will is. Everybody, we all understand that right now, right?
I don't think so.
It can be a little confusing sometimes.
Or sometimes we know and then we do the opposite.
I was looking at this banner just now, and I was thinking, you know what the Lord's will for you is? Life. Life. Life and happiness and goodness and mercy and
grace.
Gratefulness and grace and forgiveness. So now we get into understanding what the Lord's will is. And then the writer gives us some instructions on, maybe here's what not to do. Shall we keep letting?
Yes. "Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead..."
Let's stop there. Let's stop there. Debauchery is kind of a weird word. I tell you, let's unpack it this way. If we're thinking about somebody who is intoxicated, inebriated, drunk, how do they tend to act?
Well, I know what I said earlier, it was kind of no control.
Not really in control of themselves. Yeah, and they stagger both physically and mentally. I remember you saying that, and I was thinking too, it's kind of, you're not aware of how your actions affect anyone or anything around you. And that's kind of what debauchery is. It's indulging in extravagance of pleasure in some way. So being curved inward on yourself. Do you remember that Latin word we've used a few times? Incarvatus, which is a way of talking about what sin looks like. Being curved inward on ourselves. Being full of ourselves, almost. So don't be full of yourself.
No.
What does the writer say to do instead?
Instead, be filled with the Spirit, speaking to one another with psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit. Sing and make music from your heart to the Lord, always giving thanks to God the Father for everything, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Since Christ is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? So, if we're filled with the Spirit, our focus isn't inward, it's outward. Yeah, because God's will for us is to be able to take that music, to have it both inward, but then have it reflected outward to the world through our actions, our literal songs, but also in the making music with the way we act toward one another. So
don't waste opportunities, as we were talking about earlier.
Don't waste the opportunities that God, don't waste that gift that God has given. So, I guess going back to the beginning, if I'm really focused on my book or my video game, or I'm really into this crossword that I'm doing now, or I've got this goal that this goal is really for me. And an opportunity comes along where we can turn from inward to
outward.
What are we invited to do?
Use that opportunity to be with others.
So be filled with the Spirit and to sing. Whether it's your voice or with your hands or